In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this sound from my latest track, Crimson. So starting off, I have this really basic massive patch here. That's literally just one wavetable, some noise, a filter, an EQ, and some distortion. And it just sounds like this. Just for clarification, this EQ here is what's giving that whole vowel-y sound, that wah, wah, wah. And also this filter just cleans up the high end a little bit. And next we have this, of course, the saturator and OTT combo that I like to use. But the main part of this video is actually this vocoder chain right here, which is what gives the sound a lot more of a colorful texture. What I really want to talk about in this video is the idea of parallel processing. Parallel processing is this method where instead of just taking one instance of a sound and processing that, you actually split the sound into multiple instances so you can process them individually. This is super important if you want to be very precise about how you process each part of your sound. So really quick, how to do that in Ableton is, let's for example bring up just this EQ. What you want to do is you want to click on the effect and then you want to hit Control or Command G. That will group it into what's called an audio effect rack. The buttons on the side of the audio effect rack will open up more options for you to play with. So if you click on the middle button here, you'll open up all of the different instances, or in this case, chains of your sound. If you want to create a new instance or chain, what you do is you want to right click and then click on Create Chain. And now you have two different instances of the sound you're working with. So for example, if I wanted to take this chain right here, and let's say I just wanted the low end of this one. And if you go to the other chain, and then you want to process this differently, let's say you want just the high end of this sound, then you can do that by doing this. Now you have the exact same sound split into two and processed differently. Lovely, but that's just an example. So what I did with this vocoder chain is I have two different chains. One for just the main raw sound, which is more gritty, and then the actual vocoder sound, which is what makes the sound more colorful. So starting off with the main chain, all I really have is just some dimension expander here to give the sound a little bit more depth. So it sounds like this. And here on the vocoder chain, I have, surprise, a vocoder. And this is what this sounds like. I've talked about this in a different video, but what a vocoder does is that it takes the data from one sound and uses it to morph another sound. So you can see down below here, I actually have this supersaw playing a chord, and I'm using that as the source for the vocoder. Also really quick, to use the vocoder, all you have to do is choose the carrier signal to be external, and then you choose which track you want your signal to come from. So in this case, I'm going to choose vocoder supersaw because I want the supersaw. There's a bunch of other things that you can play around with in the vocoder, but what I like to use the most is the format knob down here, which just changed kind of the vowel-iness of the sound. So, by using parallel processing, I now have the grittiness of the original sound, as well as the chord sounds from the vocoder. Another important detail about this sound is that I was very particular about how I wanted each sound to be placed in the stereo field. For this main sound here, you can see that I used this utility to make the sound a little bit more mono, so it feels like the grittiness is a little more centered and in front of you. For the vocoder sound, however, I used the utility and made the sound a little bit more wider, so that the glitteriness it feels more on the sides. I think that paying attention to where your sounds are in the stereo field is super important if you want to have more clarity with your mixdowns. So now, altogether, it sounds like this. And finally, at the end here, I just have some EQs to clean up the sound a bit. On a side note, you can see that as the song progresses, I change up the notes a bit so it feels like it's progressing towards something. Okay, that's gonna do it for this video. If you liked the video, please be sure to leave a like. If you have any other ideas for videos I should make, please leave them in the comments below. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. My latest track, Crimson, is out now on all streaming platforms. Go stream it, and thank you for watching.